Hey guys, Chicago injury lawyer Scott DeSalvo here, and in today's video, our topic is the wolf in the henhouse in your injury case. Okay? So let me tell you a story of a conversation I had with a lady. I got a call from a lady, saw some of my YouTube videos, really liked what I had to say. I taught her some things that she didn't know beforehand, and so she figured she better call me. So she did, which I'm glad she did. If you know anybody who needs an injury lawyer, please send them my way, 312-500-4500. I'd love to help or even just answer questions. So anyway, she goes through it. It sounds like it's a pretty solid case. If you watched my other videos, you know that there's the three topics. Or the three things you have to do generally to gauge whether you're in the ballpark on an injury case is whether somebody else did something that caused your injury, how serious the injury is, and whether there's insurance or a rich person, right? And so we were talking about everything, and she said she had hired a lawyer, but he's not her lawyer anymore. And, she told me, she talked to a friend of hers who had done other legal work. He was a neighborhood guy who did, I guess, real estate and some other kind of law. And she went to him after she had an accident. And this lawyer recommended the injury lawyer to her. Okay, and she said, my friend told me this guy was great. He's been doing it for 30 years. He's slick. He's confident. He knows it in and out. He's literally done everything there is to do. He never loses a case. All this crap, right? And so she meets with the guy, and her instincts are immediately going off a little bit because he's overconfident and he's kind of a jerk. But Reader's Digest, she's just decides, okay, lawyers are supposed to be aggressive. I've heard lawyers are jerks. I'll stick with him. He comes personally recommended by this friend of mine who I trust. So case goes on. She stops hearing from this lawyer. When she gets him on the phone, just the ego on this guy and the attitude on this guy is just next level. He is rude to her on the phone, tells her he's a busy man and her case is in good hands, and he'll call her. She shouldn't call him. Which, if you watch my videos, it's not how I do it. I communicate well with my clients. So fast forward to, and this is what started worrying me about this lady's situation. She tells me they went to trial, and she tells me that in preparation for trial, he barely met her, he barely talked to her, he barely prepared her, didn't explain to her what the trial process was, didn't prepare her for her testimony or for her cross-examination, which really surprised me because it was a big case. This lady had serious injuries, and there were good liability and huge insurance on it. So, very valuable case. So this guy barely prepped her. She goes to court. She's like, well, he seems very confident in the courtroom, and he seems very confident in the way he addresses the judge. I don't feel really comfortable with him, but it seems like he has a commanding presence in the courtroom. The trial starts, and her attitude changes because if the judge rules against him on something, he gets aggressive with the judge. She was impressed with how he picked the jury because he instantly memorized everybody's name. She thought that was very impressive, but by the time he was doing his opening statement, which his opening statement is the beginning of the trial after you pick the jury, facts when you tell the people what the evidence is going to show. She wasn't very impressed. She thought it was very short, and by the time the trial was getting underway with witnesses, the judge seemed to have had enough of this guy. The judge seemed to have decided that this guy was, the judge had it up to here with this guy, is the point. And as the trial progressed, this lady could just tell that the jury was getting tired of her lawyer's antics. And, she said she didn't even know, like, there was some evidence she thought that the lawyer would tell the jury about, but he never did. And by the time that the jury was done with the trial, it was like a week or a week and a half long, by the time the jury got the case, they came back with a not guilty. She didn't get any money. And this was a case where liability was good, damages were huge, and pretty much, now look, I didn't review the file. And it's like I tell you, until I review the case file and think about it and figure out what evidence we can create and how I can fix problems, I can't tell you for certain whether a case is good, whether a case is bad, whether it has challenges, right? But based on what this lady is telling me, she's an intelligent person, and she was a person who sounds like she was involved in the case, like understood the facts and understood a little bit about how court cases go. So, so she's this nice lady, good communicator, smart person. It sounds to me like, she could see the writing on the wall and it didn't surprise her that much. But she said, it was my lawyer who did it to me. It was my lawyer who did it to me, no question. And basically, she wanted to know what can be done. Can I do another trial? Can I get a different lawyer? Can I appeal? What can I do? Because I have permanent lifelong injuries. So it turns out, just for the hell of it, I asked her, like, who is this lawyer? Who is this person who's self-proclaimed greatest lawyer in the world and kind of a jerk-off? I mean, unfortunately, there's a lot of them out there. There's a lot of really, really good lawyers out there, too. But, the biggest advertisers and the biggest peacocks are not always the best lawyers. In fact, the biggest advertisers and the biggest peacocks are usually, in my opinion, not the best trial lawyers. So, something for you to think about. Anyway, she tells me the guy's name. And listen, technically it's true. The guy had probably 35 years of experience when he tried that lady's case. And it was a name I knew very well because, being involved in personal injury a lot, I know most of the names, right? But it turns out that the lawyer who handled her case was a wolf in the henhouse. What do I mean by that? It's a guy who only represents substandard insurance companies against injured people. In other words, it's his business, his whole career, the reason he never loses a trial is because he works for a company that defends really low-end personal injury cases. And that's where all of his experience is, and all of his knowledge, and all of his, demeanor in front of the court and in front of a jury. That's where it all comes from. Now, I have a friend of mine who did defense right out of law school. He got out of law school a year before me, and I have kept in touch with him. And, he was a defense lawyer for about 10 or 15 years before the law firm, it was similar to this kind of law firm that this lawyer we're talking about, at a law firm like that. They only defend super low-end cases. And for the defense attorney, it's like shooting fish in a barrel. But when they're young, or that's all they do in their career, all they do is act angry, act unpleasant, use every dirty trick in the book to win cases, and then just object to everything. And they win a lot of small cases, because what a lot of people don't know is it's easier to win a big case than it is to win a small case. Now, there's more work involved, more evidence, more expertise necessary to handle bigger cases, but if you want to win a lot of cases at court, defend small injury cases, teeny tiny injury cases, because they're easy to win. Mainly because the injured person's lawyer is limited in the amount of time and money they can pour into the case, because what they're going to get paid on the case is very small. So anyway, I digress. This guy I knew who went into defense when I went into plaintiffs, my first year, my first few years as a plaintiff's lawyer were rough. I was getting assigned older attorneys' garbage cases. I was still winning them. It's when I realized I had a talent at this, and I had a judge sort of take me under her wing a little bit and help me find a better job. But my first several years, I was trying cases. I had my first jury trial my first month of law practice, and not just a trial in front of a judge, a full jury trial. And I got thrown right in, and I'm still here. But my buddy did it the other way. He did defense, right? And I was surprised. We had lunch one time, and he told me, oh yeah, they have outlines for everything. So they have outlines for how to handle a case management. They have an outline for a car accident deposition. There's an outline for a defense deposition. You're mentored by another lawyer at the firm. I never got any of that on the plaintiff side, but he got it on the defense side. So he did that kind of work for 10 or 15 years, and then his boss, who he was loyal to, fired him for a really dumb reason. And he was floating around for a little while, and then he got a job doing, he got some plaintiff's referrals. So suddenly the defense lawyer started handling plaintiff's cases. And we had lunch after he did that for about a year or two. And he told me, off the record, buddy, I didn't realize how easy defending cases is compared to what you guys have to do. And I'm like, well, Chris, I've always believed that, I've always believed that. But why do you say that? Are things not going well? And he said, I've tried several plaintiff's cases and I can't get a verdict. I can't get a verdict. And I told him the same thing I'll tell you, and that is, it's a different skill set. So, and this is what I told the lady on the phone, right? The lady with the case, with the big shot defense lawyer who couldn't win her trial, even though from what she told me it was a good case. It is a completely different skill set. When you're doing defense, you're bathed in skepticism, and everything kind of goes your way. Because defense doesn't have to put evidence in, they can just object to everything and argue that it's a BS case, which, believe it or not, works a lot of the time. They have like 20% of the stress and detail management that somebody who represents injured people have to deal with at trial. And because the plaintiff in an injury case, the injured person in an injury case, is the one who has to put things into evidence, everything needs to get disclosed. Everything needs to get mentioned at depositions. All the documents need to be turned over in the correct format, and the correct foundation needs to be laid for all of that stuff. Now, that's all technically true, But something that has come into my knowledge probably within the last 8 or 9 years is there's an energy component to it, right? There is a sincerity and belief component, and that separates somebody like me from somebody who's had far more trial experience defending cases and defeating injured people's cases. They're way more experienced in the courtroom or whatever, right? But the difference in front of a judge or jury is the energy that a person who believes in helping injured people has that you will never have if you are a wolf in the henhouse. So, I didn't tell this to the lady who called me. Her deadlines for filing an appeal were over, and there was nothing she said that the lawyer strictly did that was unethical. He never told her that he had tried millions of PI cases for injured people. He never misrepresented or did anything unethical that she is aware of. So I told her, you can't really report her to the lawyer ethics board, or you can't report this guy to the lawyer ethics board because he didn't do anything legally unethical. He tried your case and you lost. And so the moral of the story is, if you have a wolf in the henhouse, they can be confident. They can have tried 1,000 trials. But unless look, you can try 1,000 trials not really knowing what you're doing on the defense side, but you can't do that on the plaintiff side. And if you do, you're not going to win very many trials. But you can't have a wolf in the henhouse, because as soon as they get in front of that jury, those 12 people come together as a jury, and their IQ is off the charts. They catch everything, they see everything, and they can read between the lines. And my theory on what probably went wrong with this lady's trial, based on my experience, based on other things I've seen, based on other stories other lawyers have talked to me about, is you can't have a wolf in the henhouse. You gotta have somebody who's an injury lawyer all the way down, who believes it, who is there to help the injured person, will not take no for an answer. And that's kind of the way it goes. So unfortunately, I had to give this lady bad news, but I think she had probably spoken to somebody else because or done her own research or something, because she accepted it without any question. So, I can give you advice that I wouldn't give her, because I didn't want to hurt her feelings. In the future, if you have a case, you do not want a defense lawyer who's moonlighting as a plaintiff's lawyer handling the case. Now, you want to ask the lawyer what their experience is. How long have you been representing injured people versus the defense versus an insurance company? If you've got 20 or 30 years of experience, is all of it with an insurance company beating injury claims? Is that what you do? Because if that's what you do, it's a problem, right? If that's what you do, it's a problem. So it's a sad story. It's a sad story for that lady. She didn't know to ask, and a lot of her bells were ringing, but the guy came recommended to her, and he acted like a big shot, and it turns out that didn't work out in front of the jury too well. So, sad day for her. Anyway, if you need an injury lawyer, or if anyone you know has been injured, or if you've been injured and you need a lawyer who does plaintiff, in other words, represents injured people, you can call me anytime, night or day. 312-500-4500. That's 312-500-4500. You can call me any night or day, anytime, night or day. Consultation is free. I will listen to your story. I will ask you questions. I will answer your questions. And if you have a case, we can proceed. Okay? Sometimes people aren't ready to talk to a lawyer, but don't worry. I've got you covered. I got a way for you to find custom information on your particular situation for free in 20 seconds flat, all without talking to a lawyer. What am I talking about? I'm talking about 2 calculators I hand built on my website, 7 multiple choice questions you answer off the top of your head, and they give you killer information that is tailored to your situation. Okay? One is called the Case Cash Calculator. It tells you whether what the value of your case might be. And the other one is called the Good Case Calculator. It tells you whether you might have a good case or a case with some challenges, right? And forewarned is forearmed. So you want to know what the challenges with your case might be. Both of them work exactly the same way. Both of these are free, sitting on my website for you to use whenever and as often as you want. You can share them with friends. And let me tell you, I am getting a lot of positive feedback. A lot of people are calling me, emailing me, sending me messages on YouTube saying, thank you so much. I used your tool. It really helped me. And so I think you'll really like it too. Links in the description, Case Cash Calculator and Good Case Calculator. If you don't want to use those tools, I have well over 200 injury videos on my YouTube channel that explain how injury cases work. They are there for you, so check them out. And if you enjoy the video, please give me a thumbs up. That makes the YouTube algorithm spread the video out, show it to more people so they get this valuable information just like you. And consider subscribing and hitting the bell icon so you get notified when I release a new video, which currently I'm doing twice a week. What else? You know, if you enjoy my videos, the free tools on my website, my book, my CD, my DVD, my injury cheat sheet, you appreciate that stuff, and you wouldn't mind doing me a favor, I will never forget it, and I will always appreciate it. If you would not mind giving me a 5-star review on Google, it would really help me out. Link in the description. You just go to that website on your phone, tablet, or computer. Takes you right to the page. Click 5 stars, say a kind word, hit submit. Literally 5 seconds will work for you, maybe 10 seconds. Invaluable favor to me. It really helps me compete against these multimillionaires who advertise in my market, because people really do rely on those Google reviews when deciding who to hire as an injury lawyer. Okay? So check that out, give it a shot, see what's what, and I hope you and your family are well. Thank you for watching. Sorry this video was kind of long, but it was a little convoluted, and as usual, I took a couple of left turns telling the story. But anyway, thank you for watching. I hope you and your family are well. If God forbid anybody needs help, 312-500-4500. I can at least ease your mind and maybe win your case for you. So thanks for being a viewer. Really appreciate it. And take care. Have a great day. Bye-bye.